Stretching is a popular activity before a workout. Should stretching also be something you try to do at the office? Joining us for this week's Smith Business Close-Up is Paul Tesluk, chair of the Department of Management and Organization. Professor, thank you for being with us.
Good to be with you, Jeff.
What is meant by a stretch assignment in the business world?
Well, a stretch assignment really means, just as the phrase implies, it's an assignment that stretches you beyond what you've normally done in the past in terms of what the job requires. For leaders, we typically think of stretch assignments as assignments that require them to initiate change, to manage people who they might not have direct influence over in terms of kind of lines of authority, or puts them in situations where they have high levels of responsibility and authority for being able to get things done.
Is the purpose of that to test the person to see if they sink or swim in that environment, or to have them grow in some respect?
Well, it can be used for different purposes. In the context of developing leadership competencies, though, it's really more of the latter. It's really to use it as a developmental opportunity rather than as a test of whether someone can succeed in a leadership role. But really, you can use it for both purposes. I mean, both from a developmental standpoint and also from an assessment. But the opportunity really lies in using it as a developmental opportunity. Because one of the things that we know from the research is that the majority of development of leadership skills, the intangibles that we think of in terms of ability to be able to influence and be able to get things done with and through our teams, really comes from those on-the-job experiences, and that's where stretch assignments are so important.
You know, a big conglomerate like General Electric comes to mind, and that's the sort of thing they do, if I'm not mistaken. They'll take somebody who's spent a career building aircraft engines and put them in charge of, like, the NBC primetime schedule, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Those situations where you're required to do something new and different that you haven't done before, that certainly qualifies as a stretch assignment. And GE is well known for really being a leadership factory. I mean, they've produced great leaders that now lead many other Fortune 500 organizations, in part because how they use stretch assignments so methodically.
All right, let's look at it from the standpoint of a mid-level manager who wants to climb the corporate ladder. What can he or she do to try to be in a position for this, to encourage it? What sort of assignments would the research indicate that that person ought to be after?
Yeah, that's a good question. The good news is that for developing managers, for those who aspire to leadership positions, stretch assignments are a great opportunity for them to be able to manage their own leadership development. And that's by looking for opportunities that require them to initiate change, to be able to have influence laterally across the organization, because that really requires developing negotiation and influence skills that are so important for being an effective leader. Being in situations that provide you with greater visibility and require you to be able to get things done in high-stake environments. So turnaround situations are another great opportunity. And unfortunately, in our economy, the way things are, there's many of those opportunities out there. But stretch assignments and the developmental opportunities they afford are really kind of the silver lining in this economic environment from that standpoint.
So the recession hasn't necessarily made it harder to get these assignments, or harder for companies to try to set up systems to encourage this sort of thing?
Well, it's made it harder in the standpoint that many organizations now are very reluctant to invest formally in leadership development. I was just having a conversation with a senior executive at a Fortune 100 organization the other day, and they commented that they've just suspended all of their executive development and leadership programs, at least the formal ones. But with stretch assignments, because the jobs have expanded so greatly because of because of the turnaround situations that are required, and how job breadth has increased as workforces have diminished, that is an opportunity for savvy managers to craft their own assignments that they are more developmental. They have some of those features that I was mentioning. And for organizations to frame these as opportunities for growth and development, not just in getting the work done.
For companies that are smaller than Fortune 100 and maybe wouldn't even make the Maryland top 1,000 businesses, for a smaller company, Is there a way for them to benefit from some of the upside here?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. I mean, it's equally applicable in a small business environment as it is in a large business type of context, and that's one of the benefits of a stretch assignment approach to leadership development, is that you have the job itself is the developmental opportunity. Now, you can also pair that with some mentoring opportunities and with some executive coaching, which can also be tailored down to the level of the individual who's taking on that stretch assignment. And that provides a lot of flexibility for small organizations to develop their leadership development without having to invest significant sums in leadership development per se, in terms of formal programs or sending people to executive programs that are very expensive.
All right, Professor Paul Tesluk joining us from the Smith School of Business. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much, Jeff.